ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, Josh Newberg. Josh, how we doing, my guy?
I'm here and I'm ready to go. What are we talking, portal?
Talk a little bit of portal, man. You got to build the buffs now. And in year one, like we just said, there's a lot that's required of these first-year head coaches. It's not so much so, hey, give them 2 to 3 years. That third year, we'll really find out what you're made of. It's okay. Year one, who's coming with you? What's the Louis luggage? What's going on here? So, I mean, in your estimation, for Deion Sanders, what's the first move you're making for Colorado in the portal if you're Deion?
He's already made the first move, JD, and that's the purge. You got to get rid of some guys that just aren't carrying their weight, and you also got to make room for some better players. So now that the purge has taken place, it's time to binge. Let's go to the portal to binge. And where's my first stop on this binge? Well, it's Jackson, Mississippi, and I'm going to rent a U-Haul, and I'm going to go knock on Travis Hunter's dorm, and I'm moving him to Boulder, Colorado if I'm Deion Sanders. Because like you said, he needs some dynamic playmakers. And Travis Hunter, being the #1 player in America just a year ago in the 2022 recruiting class, he brings that. He brings that on both sides of the football. So now Travis Hunter is not in the transfer portal yet, but once he is, and it's legal, Deion Sanders better go get that U-Haul and bring him to Boulder, Colorado.
Go ahead, Josh. Go ahead, Josh.
After that, I mean, I think you really load up on skill players. Now, you're Deion Sanders, right? Virginia cornerback Fentrell Cypress is widely considered the #1 cornerback in America. Well, if you're Deion, I think that's a great place to go and make a statement. I'm going to go into the portal and convince the #1 cover corner in the country to come play in Boulder, Colorado.
Fentrell Cypress. Sorry, I keep cutting you off here, Josh, but Ohio State pushing hard for him. If you could win a recruiting battle over Ohio State, talk about making a statement, right? I mean, on your first recruiting battle in the portal, that would be huge.
And then you got to load up in the trenches, because we both know that if you're bringing in Shedeur Sanders, he needs a entirely revamped offensive line, because they're a 1-win program, and a 1-win offensive line is not going to cut it for anybody, especially Shedeur coming in, going Power 5, a big transition for him, need to get him some help up front. But besides that, I mean, he said he's bringing 10 guys from Jackson State. He said that in his introductory speech to the players. He let them know, I'm bringing 10. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, Travis Hunter will be one of those 10.
You would think, right, if you're playing the odds here of guys that he got to Jackson State, that you can kind of assume are like Deion's guys, Travis Hunter would have to be in that, group, rather. Now, I want to ask you this, Josh. Let's just say we get to the situation where Travis Hunter enters the portal. Do you think we see a announcement right away of, okay, I'm transferring from Jackson State to Colorado, or is it more so of a Travis Hunter enters the portal, will weigh his options?
JD, a year ago at this time, I was covering Travis Hunter from the Florida State beat. So let me just tell you about what you can expect from Travis Hunter in terms of an announcement. The unexpected is exactly what you should expect from Travis Hunter. So when you ask me what's he going to do, man, I got no idea. But I am expecting the unexpected when it comes to Hunter.
Hey, stay ready, never got to get ready, right? Like that's the world we're living in, especially in the day and age of the portal when you're dealing with phenomenal talents like Travis Hunter, player mobility. I'm with you. Expect the unexpected. Okay, I like that, Josh. I like that a lot. Staying in the theme of the portal, are there any targets in your mind that are outside of Travis Hunter, maybe outside of Jackson, Mississippi, that you think, hey, if I'm Deion Sanders, I want to go take an extra look at X, Y, and Z player?
Yeah, get back to your home state of Florida. You got plenty of guys in the portal at Miami, plenty of guys in the portal out of Florida, Florida State. I think you start there. One guy that just comes to mind is DB Avante Williams. I think he was in the 2021 class, and he was a top 100 player. Defensive back that's leaving Miami. I think he could be a good addition, And obviously, Deion's got to do his own vetting process, right? Like, we're throwing names out there, but it is imperative that they fit the culture. Another guy that I like is Jimmy Horn at USF. I didn't mention USF as a program in state, but that's another Florida program, and Jimmy Horn is an absolute speed demon. He already put Colorado in his top 4. I know Houston is really battling for him, but I think if Deion were to come calling, I think Jimmy Horn would be a great piece for that offense.
And Colorado, a school that's been linked to Jimmy Horn. No, I mean that's like the sources thing is there's a lot of different, sources linking USF receiver Jimmy Horn to Colorado. Is that accurate, Josh?
Yeah, he came out and put Colorado in his top 4.
Right.
So Jimmy Horn already knowing the power of Deion Sanders, the lure to Colorado. So we'll see what happens there. But I absolutely think that they're going to make an impact in the portal. Just how great. Like I said, if they could get a Fentrell Cypress and really make that sort of statement, not only beating Ohio State for a key target, but also just saying like, hey, if you're a great DB, you're going to come play for Deion Sanders. I mean, that's why he got into coaching, first of all, anyway. And
I feel like the pitch, if you're Deion Sanders, for a guy like Fentrell Cypress, it has to be just teed up perfectly. Hey, I'm at the Power 5 level now. You want to come play for the best defensive back, arguably in the history of the NFL. I'm right here as the head coach. Like, I'm not hard to find. What Coach Prime always says, he's not hard to find. So I'm definitely in agreement. Go get the sure thing and those skill players. Go get the guys that are going to be walking highlight reels for you if you're Coach Prime. I feel like that's the easier pitch. The pitch that I'm curious to see how he does is the trenches. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, Josh, but Deion Sanders, I would imagine, will have no trouble getting wide receivers and corners and running backs, and he has his quarterback. But what will make them from a good team to a great team, as we saw with Utah in the Pac-12 this season, got to be able to have those big boys up front. So I got a few names I'm interested to see how they develop and if there's any buzz around Colorado as their transfer portal recruitment kicks up. A Johnny Cornelius, believe he's the number 2 player in the On3 transfer portal rankings, taking a visit to Nebraska, it sounds like, but he's a high-profile guy, much like Travis Hunter was, and it sounds like it was a done deal. And then at the 11th hour, Colorado comes in out of nowhere and gets their guy. Could be the same thing for a guy like Johnny Cornelius. Javion Cohen started 10 games this year for Alabama. Interior offensive lineman, he could be a guy. Drake Nugent, transferring from Stanford. He's an in-state guy for Colorado. So all that's to say, I'm just curious how much of an emphasis is placed early on the offensive line for Deion, because the trenches from the FCS level to the FBS level is the biggest jump, in my opinion. That's the biggest difference, having played at both levels. So I'm just curious to see how they go about addressing that, because I don't know that you can just totally grab all your guys from Jackson State and copy and paste them onto the Colorado roster and be good to go. So we'll see what happens there. But what's your biggest challenge that you think is facing Deion as he continues to build this program in Boulder?
Time. And I say that because Deion Sanders has one more game to coach in Jackson, Mississippi. It'll be December 17th for their final game, their bowl game, whatever exactly it's called. But time waits for nobody. Signing day is coming up. It's 2 Wednesdays from now, and Deion is going to have to work on balance, because he is not going to be in Boulder, Colorado. He's going to be in Mississippi. He's going to be amongst his former team, I guess, current, former. I don't know how
whatever
you address that.
Whatever you put to it.
I guess they're both. They're current and they're former. So he's going to be there. But one thing that caught my eye at the introductory press conference, he announced that David Kelly would be running recruiting from Boulder, Colorado. He was already there on Monday running recruiting meetings and getting things organized. David Kelly has been around. I first met David Kelly, I think, in 2007 when he was at UCF recruiting Blake Bortles. Since then, he has gone on to work in the recruiting offices at Florida State, Oregon, FAU. He's been to many places, Georgia Tech's another stop he's made. And David Kelly is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting in the beginning. It's going to bridge the gap so Deion can come in after the bowl game and really just get down to the brass tacks of recruiting. So right now, I think this is the balancing act that he's going to have to play while he has 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but signing day keeps on approaching.
It's a tricky situation to be in if you're Deion Sanders. And to be fair, he's never done this. Like, he's never made the transition from one college job to the next. When he took the Jackson State job, it was going from the high school level to Jackson State. And so that's, again, not to knock Deion Sanders. It's just to concede that, yeah, this is a tricky situation. So having David Kelly overseeing recruiting right now sounds like a really good move on his part, playing chess, not checkers. Now, recruiting. Josh, you're a national recruiting analyst for us here at On3. You do a phenomenal job. Got the inside scoop on the channel. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, you get the inside scoop, you get the hard count, get all the content every single day. Go ahead and lock it in there really quick. When it comes to recruiting with high school versus the portal, is there any difference in terms of approach with which you see Deion Sanders taking on both of those trails?
That's a very good question. Yes. I think at the high school level, you don't mind a guy that's going to develop, because you're starting at Colorado, and regardless of what we say about Deion Sanders, there will be some struggles early on. It's not going to come as easy as he would like. So I think that when you look at high school players, you leave a little bit of room for development. Not when you go to the portal. If you're Deion Sanders and you're looking for portal players, I think you want somebody that's going to make an instant impact, especially if he only has a year or two. Now, there are some people in the portal with 3-4 years of eligibility, but ultimately those aren't proven recruits. Those aren't proven prospects. So in the portal, you want instant impact right away. And let's face it, why are they in the portal to begin with? Because they weren't playing at their former team. So I think you build the foundation with high school recruits. That's your foundation. So when these upperclassmen leave, you replace them with great high school prospects. Now, to bridge that gap, though, you go heavy in the portal. I mean, Deion said he's bringing 10 from Jackson State. I wouldn't be surprised if he brings another 10 or 15 in from around the country, and those players will be expected to play right away.
Yeah, you said 10 if you're Deion Sanders. I'm like, 10? Coach, we won 1 game last year. We might need more than 10 dudes to get this thing headed in the right direction.
I think he was referring to the 10 from his old team.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I was going to say it might be a bunch more of an overhaul to get that roster to where it needs to be, where Deion expects them to be going forward. Josh, last question for you before we get you out of here. We've taken too much of your time already. When it comes to the development side of things for Deion Sanders, this will also be a little bit of a new process for him in terms of taking a kid from a freshman to a senior and getting them from being like a high school senior to being a full-fledged college football player senior. How do you expect that process to go for a guy like Deion Sanders with this new program he's got going in Colorado?
Through the coaches that he's hiring right now. You see what's happening. I think he has 2 head coaches on his staff. They've left their current jobs at lower levels, and they're coming to Colorado. There's also rumors of a guy like Charles Kelly coming from Alabama. Charles Kelly is an unbelievable coach, a great developer of talent, and a great recruiter. But in terms of developing talent, he's done it at the highest level. A lot of these coaches have done it at the highest level. I also like the fact that he is going after head coaches. They are the ones that know how to organize. They know how to manage their time. They know how to connect with all types of recruits and players. So I think that it's going to be a lot of it is going to go on this coaching staff that he's bringing in, and we're just waiting to see who these hires are.
Absolutely. A lot of what you do as a head coach, you're managing culture, you're the CEO, you are the brand, and then underneath you are your coaches that are going to be in the nitty-gritty and managing the X's and O's and managing your football program at a more hands-on level. But Josh, appreciate you making some time, man. Absolute blast having you on the Hard Count. I know we did the Inside Scoop earlier today. If you haven't yet gone and checked that out, would encourage you to do so. Also some Deion talk on that program. But Josh, appreciate you, man, and we'll do this again real soon.
Roll party.
Roll party. He's here, and he's coming back. He's coming back. Josh Newberg, again, national recruiting analyst for On3. If you haven't yet thrown him a follow on Twitter, would also very much encourage you to do that as well. All right. For those of you that have not yet subscribed to the program, subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you here. Content every single day. Inside Scoop, the Hard Count. We got a lot of things cooking. And guess what? It's a 12-month-a-year sport. And whether they're playing games or not, we're still here bringing the fan what they need. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of the Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.